Hello. I made 7 journals over the past week, so I'm going to try to do them all in one video because the flip throughs for the travel journals are pretty straightforward because you know the basic components of those and they're pretty much the same. I just repeat the same thing over with different covers, different colors, and different binding and different wrapping materials and whatnot. So I'm going to start out with this one, and this is just basically a wraparound journal. I used a lot of the crochet thread that I've had this. I crocheted this like decades ago, literally. So I'm trying to use it up. So instead of wrapping around with just basic yarn, I wrapped around with the actual crocheted thread, and it came out fine. But I realized too late that 3 is not necessary when, like I do with yarn, when I'm just doing a single strand of yarn, I wrap around 3 times. And I did that with some of these, and I was like, that's probably a bit much. So this is the pin holder that I chose to go with this one. I think it's from one of the washi tapes that I got as a surprise me kit, of different samples. And they were probably the first time I ever encountered 10 centimeter washi tape. It was very, very nice. And the image is all different girls playing instruments or cooking or doing different things. So kind of a manga theme there. Okay, so for this one, the cover is literally just cardboard. I had a piece of cardboard that was really long, about this long, maybe 12, 13 inches long or so. Well, actually longer than that because the spine is probably 2 inches by itself. But I had bent it and was going to cover it with fabric, but I didn't really have any fabric that was the right size for it, and I didn't want to cut the fabric because I have not ventured into fabric covers very well, so I'm very, very hesitant to embark upon that and waste a bunch of fabric. But instead of doing fabric, I decided to add this one to my overall plan to get rid of the really skinny washi tape. So I decorated the cover with one really, really wide strip, one of those remake rolls of tape that I think is supposed to replace wallpaper or something like that. And then I used some of the thin washi tape on the edge or on the inside edge. And I did the same thing on both sides, just the wide washi tape for the wood grain pattern and then the thin washi tape in the back. And I actually used that same thin washi tape on the spine. That was before I decided I was going to do wraparound. I hadn't decided if I was going to do wraparound or if I was going to do something different with poking the holes through it. But I decided to do wraparound, so you can't really see this. I may do one of the previous wraparounds. I did like little window curtain bindings and whatnot, and I may do that on this one. I tried to do all of it together, and I broke the thread that I was wrapping around it because it's just too thick with it being crocheted and all. And like I mentioned before, I did three strands of wrapping on some of them, and that's a bit much. But by that point, I'd already tied knots at the top, so I wasn't going to try to undo it or anything like that. I mean, if it had been single strand, maybe, yeah, but with it crocheted, if I cut anything, hold on, lotion under my fingernails. If it had been crocheted, if I had cut anything, then the whole crochet thing could possibly unravel. I don't want to do that. The covers are pieces of embossed cardstock that I painted over. So just a different color cardstock, basically like a salmon, light pink salmon color on the front one, and then a light yellow on the back. So that is glued down with the B700 7000 glue that I've used in the past, and double stick tape. I got a really good brand of double stick tape, and I'm using the heck out of it. So that is what the cover is. It's just really one ply of cardboard wrapped up. Now, because of the edges, I had this again. This is all a learning process for me. So because the edges of this cardstock weren't doing what I wanted them to do when I tried to glue them down and put them down with the double stick tape, I decided to go over all the edges and actually over the entire cover with just clear packing tape. This heavy duty Scotch 3M packing tape. So that is why it looks really, really shiny and glossy. The advantage of that is it does waterproof it to some extent. Not that this is really, designed for rugged exterior use, but I'm not terribly fond of the laminating with tape aspect of it, and just in terms of the appearance and the overall aesthetics of it. But in terms of durability, it does give it a leg up. I've tried using contact paper for stuff like this, and contact paper does not have enough adhesive to stay. So the projects that I've used contact paper to try to laminate the surfaces, I ended up having to sew around them because the contact paper would just flop off, and the adhesive just wears out really, really, really fast, which I don't understand how it stays in cabinets so well. So inside this one, since it's an irregular size, of course, you've got your writing board with lines on the back and practice calligraphy on the front. But most of this paper is craft paper, so I'm not sure that actually, I didn't even test it. I don't think the lines will be visible. Yeah, the lines aren't really visible through the craft paper. So for the craft paper parts of this, it just ends up being a writing board, a hard surface you can write on. But it's not very, very dense cardboard, but it is closer to a hardback than a soft cover, I would say. So inside here, there are 7 signatures with 10 pages each. So that's 70 pages or 70 sheets. Well, actually, 10 pages is 20 pages because they're folded in half. So 140. Oh, wow. 140 sheets for this one. I didn't realize it was coming out that much. So, like I said, it's mostly craft paper. It's paper from packing and whatnot that I cut down to size because this is pretty much 6 by 6. So I cut the paper down to 5 9ths or 5 9/10 of an inch both directions to get it to fit inside the cover. I'll do a quick flip through. Some of it is regular copy paper that I decorated with ink. Waste ink that I'm reusing from the times that I clean out my fountain pens. And some of it is sketchbook paper from Daiso that I've also cut down to size. And some of the craft paper, you'll see that I also decorated it or soaked it in waste ink just to give it a little bit more color or a little bit more character, I guess is the way to say that. But there's all different kinds of paper in here because I didn't want to go on too much of a cutting spree because of the unstandard size of this particular paper for this book. So some of it is A4, some of it is really literally craft paper that I got out of a package and cut down to size. And some of it is just random paper that was left over when I was making a journal or thought I was making a journal, but had too many pages and had to cut back on some of the pages. Yeah, like you see, there's, I think, 1 or 2 pieces of black paper in there. Where was it? 1 or 2 pieces of black paper, some of the 50 mulberry paper. I think there's only 1 or 2 pages of that in there. And I think I might have binded it in upside down because it's supposed to be grounded to the bottom, as I didn't realize that one was that much shorter. A lot of the paper that I decorated, and I think there's maybe 1 or 2 sheets of premium washi paper. I think this is actually Life Noble Note, but it's a premium paper, higher weight and higher density and whatnot. And some just random copy paper that just happened to be close to the size already, so I just cut the rest off and make it 6 by 6 with some change. And this is, again, packing paper, just the pale packing paper, the light gray packing paper that comes out. So that is this one, 70 times 2, 140 sheets for this one. And, of course, the writing board is about 6 1/10 by 6 1/10 because I like for them to stick out a little bit so you know that they're there. And the tie for this one, of course, is hair elastic from Daiso. I went on another foray. Now, I really need to get in the habit of using what I already have instead of relying on the ease of the Daiso elastics. But I probably will not go back for more Daiso elastics for a minute. Okay, so that is that one. Just a regular wraparound binding 6 by 6 journal. Because some of the paper you can't really see the lines through, it probably would make a good sketchbook or an album for pasting things into and whatnot. Since this is not the handmade paper, it's all reclaimed paper from other sources. Acid shouldn't be a problem, so an album might be a good use for this one if you didn't want to write in it. Okay, this is another crown binding book, and this is probably going to be the last last I do with crown binding for a while, because I don't have the only paper that I have that's heavy enough, consistently heavy enough to do this with is the Daiso construction paper, and it's large enough to get me, a certain number of signatures on the back, but the paper size is non-standard, so I have to cut up all my cardstock to fill it up, and I don't want to do that anymore. This one is almost full legal size, but not quite. So this one would probably be another one that would be a sketchbook or something like that. And normally the covers on the crown binding are much denser, but this is just single ply cardboard from, I think I got this from a package I received from Jet Pens, where the board that they put behind stuff when they wrap it in plastic to keep it sturdy and stable in the packaging. So this is a lot lighter cardboard for a cover than I would normally use. So this one, I may end up having to put a writing board in this one because the cover is not very, you can see the cover is not very sturdy. Not sure how that will work. Okay, this is the pin holder that I paired with this one for obvious reasons, because it's got some of the same similar pattern washi tape as before. Just a crocheted yarn tie on this one, not attached. So it's off to the side. Get this out of the way, actually. And inside, as I mentioned before, I'm trying to get out of the habit of putting something in these on the last ones when I am loading up a crown binding book, because if I have paper in there, you can't see. Some of these may be too wide, actually. You can't see the binding. And again, the binding is all me using up the thin strips of washi tape. And I think I didn't actually finish all of these. Some of them I was able to get through all the way, but some of them still have some left over. So I'll do another project where I bind cardboard with washi tape, but I don't know if it'll be crown binding or it'll be another wraparound. It'll probably be another wraparound. So I filled this one with orange on the edges, matching the major tone of the covers, which is orange. Then I went to like a light pink, then yellow, then gray, then brown or something like that. So it's kind of like, it's designed to where you're supposed to see the same colors go in and out on either side, like the pinks on both sides, the salmon's on both sides, this beige is on both sides as well. So it has a lot of signatures in it. I think each little partition only has six in there. And I think it's got 32 signatures. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So 32 signatures in this one. And they either have 6 or 5, or they might have, different ones might have different amounts in them. I think I initially put just 3, and then the book was very narrow. It was even folding in closer than this. So I went back and added some more cardstock I moved some of the cardstock in the middle to the outsides and then added some more cardstock in the middle. So I don't remember I don't think it's consistent how many are in each one. Like this one only has 3, but the ones at the end have like 7 or 8. So, but it's still nice. And I think it would still make a good like sketchbook, especially if you like the durability of cardstock. And I usually fill these with cardstock because of the way the binding is, and they are more likely to stay in when it's traveling or moving about. But I may have to put a writing board with this one, because the cover, I didn't realize how light that cover is compared to mobility and using it as a scrapbook, because most of the time in the crown bindings I don't put writing boards in them because the cover is hard enough to give a good writing surface. But I don't know, I'm not as confident in this one now that I see it from this angle. So that is this one, and we're at 14 minutes, so I'm going to do a second video for all the travel journals, so I'll be right back.